With the amount of great films we have coming out this month and next, who would have thought Dungeons and Dragons would have been amongst the best? Dungeons and Dragons, Honour Amongst Thieves. God, if you asked me like 3 months ago when I first saw the trailer for this, I really wouldn't have thought much about it. A charming thief and a band of unlikely adventurers embark on an epic quest to retrieve a lost relic, but things go dangerously awry when they begin messing with the wrong people. I feel like I could have written a better bio for that film than what I just read off IMDb, but hey ho. Wow, what a film though. I had a surprisingly good time with this. And also a forewarning, I've never really gotten into D&D. I had a few experiences with it at university, but I haven't really had the chance to jump back in it since. And as I talk about aspects of the film, apologies in advance if I come off as completely clueless to the lore. So if you're looking for a review from someone who's completely knee-deep in the lore and the knowledge of Dungeons & Dragons, which I completely get, this is more coming from a point of view of an average Joe that was just looking for a good adventure fantasy film. And to me, that's exactly what we got. A fun all-star cast, each bringing their own unique humour to the table, with a story crafted around a great amount of tongue-in-cheek humour, as well as a decent amount of emotion too. Our ragtag band stars Chris Pine as the main hero, as well as our bard, and that was just such a great casting choice. He injects that modern day humour into this old tale style story to bring that healthy amount of just charm and chaos. And this could have just been an easy cash grab for him as well, but he's actually involved in a lot of the deeper heartfelt elements of the film too, and he makes a lot of them land. The humour here is rightly spaced out, and when the emotional elements happen, they're not rudely interrupted by cheap jokes, which is mad. It's just something I'm programmed to expect by now, which is just insane, and Marvel can definitely learn a page or two from a film like this. Chris Pine is partnered with Michelle Rodriguez, who plays a barbarian Uthgar named Holger. Told you it would be obvious I don't know the lore at all. And to me, she plays a very similar character to Drax in the Guardians films, a very straightforward, competent partner to Chris Pine's chatty, bullshitting character. And this duo just worked really well here. I loved their family-like chemistry, and I was never bored watching them bounce jokes off of each other. Regé-Jean plays a paladin who dials up that straightforwardness up to 11 and becomes so literal that it just further enhances the stupidity of what's going on in the group. And to me, this is what felt like the D&D experiences I've had back in the past, where the Dungeon Master's just trying to play it serious, keep it together, and the rest of the party is just fucking around, messing up all the plans. And he's great in here, but what was also really surprising for me was Justice Smith, who plays our incompetent sorcerer. He's usually the joke character in a lot of other films he's been in, and they can be very hit and miss. Great in Detective Pikachu, for example, but not so great in the Jurassic World films. And he was one of the best aspects here, I feel. A lot of jokes from him, but they, for the most part, land really well and had me proper belly laughing. The other great casting choice here was Hugh Grant, who you can also just tell has no idea what's going on. He brings that clumsy charm to the table that's very different to Chris Pine and Justice Smith's humour, and none of these guys are overlapping with each other. Honestly, there was no one in this film that I didn't like. It just felt like the whole party was constantly rolling ones and messing up all the plans they'd conjured in every way possible. Aside from the humour in the story though, the action is really solid here too. Almost everyone gets a decent amount of time to shine with some well choreographed action pieces. Scenes especially with Michelle Rodriguez or Regé-Jean were really entertaining, but also just some really good ways of using CG and camera movements as well. Sophia Lillis plays our shape-shifting druid here, and there's a scene involving her which they made really dynamic and entertaining, making full use of her abilities. Her character is very graphics dependent here, and the CG was never bad. And that's the same for the rest of the film, consistently clean and never distracting. A lot of diverse characters as well. I mean, completely clueless as to who they are lore-wise, but it was just great for me seeing a lot of unique, well-designed characters roaming around this film. Also, the sets were fantastic too. The story takes you to many places, and it felt like a large continent you were exploring. You were never just in a room, a lot of open, wide shots and loads of unique different locations. It's a small thing that I think makes a big difference when watching these fantasy adventure films, and I think more times than not, a lot of these films don't hit this mark. Right, I've definitely banged on enough here, but the bottom line is that this is a really solid good time. The runtime isn't too long, and the story is fast-paced and never drags, and if you're just looking for a light-hearted adventure film to sink into for a couple of hours, this is one I'd definitely recommend. I hope those that enjoy D&D also find this to be a faithful representation. It's It's a good movie regardless of its ties to the game, and I'd imagine this is something that pleases both newcomers and experienced fans alike. So that's Dungeons & Dragons. Maybe you've already seen it though, it came out last weekend. If you have, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below, especially if you've played a lot of D&D. I'd love to see if this met your expectations. If you found this video enjoyable, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe and all that, and as always, stay tuned for more reviews on movies, anime and video games. Until next time guys, take care, bye bye.